Hey guys, this is Axel from Pedal Electric Tech Support. Today I'm going to show you how to unbox and assemble your all-wheel drive S. So the first step, I'm going to bring you over here to the side of the box. You can scan the QR code right here, and this is going to bring you to the build manual and also the build video. The first step we're going to do, we're going to cut our ties off here, and then we're going to use a razor blade to cut the box open. So with your razor blade, we're going to cut the two sides. Just cut along down here and make sure that the razor blade is pointed outwards so that you don't damage the contents on the inside. And you're going to do the same thing for the inside box here. Just open the flap and start cutting. Now that we're unboxed, we're going to start pulling the contents out here. You're going to have your headlight box. This is going to be your rear rack with the turn signal already installed. And take out your other box here. It's going to have your charger, pedals, and your toolkit's going to be in here. Now with your snips, we're going to start cutting the zip ties off. You're going to have a toolkit, 21mm for your front wheel lug nuts, foot pegs, pedals, a bell, extra hardware, and touch-up paint. And then inside is going to be a charger and a separate box. Your toolkit is going to come with a 1.5 all the way up to a 6mm Allen. You're also going to have a flathead and Phillips screwdriver with a handle. So with the Phillips and the flathead, you can insert into the handle. You're going to have an 8 and a 10mm wrench. You're going to have a 10 and a 12mm wrench, a 15 and a 13mm wrench, and also your 21mm wrench for your front lug nuts. I'm just going to go cut the keys off. You're going to have two different lengths of keys in here. These shorter keys are going to be for your front fork lock down here, and the longer keys are going to be for your battery to unlock and lock your battery. So now using the tools in your toolkit, you're going to use your 4mm Allen. We're going to remove the screws on the headset. If you haven't done so already, you can take the bottom portion off here, and we're going to clamp our handlebars on. So when you're doing this, it's very easy to twist around your wiring. So you just want to manipulate and twist it to make sure that the wiring is nice and straight. That's going to give you the cleaner look on the front. Snug down your two corner bolts, but don't tighten them all the way. And then get the other two corners in. This will free up your hands and the handlebars won't fall down on you. When you tighten these down, you want to crisscross. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. At this point, we're going to now remove the battery from the bike. And then we're going to go ahead and flip the bike over onto the handlebars so that we can install the front wheel. So our next step is to install the front wheel. You'll notice that two of these stanchions might be at different size and lengths. You need to have the flat portion pointed on the inside and not rotated like this. This can damage the motor if you install that incorrectly. So on the bottom, you're going to loosen up that compression knob down here. And then what I like to do is extend this as far as it can go. And I'll show you in a second why. Remember to remove your brake caliper spacer. On your brake rotor side, you're going to have a torque washer on the inside. You're going to have a silver oval washer, and that's going to go on the outside by your nut. And this goes on the inside. On your motor cable side, you're going to have the torque washer without the oval spacer, and this is going to go on the outside. The notched part here is going to fall onto the underside of those dropouts on your fork. Next up, we're going to install the wheel. So I have this stanchion raised up for a reason. It allows you to align this in, making it easier to install on the other side. I want to show you how to align the front wheel. As you notice, it's probably over to one side or the other. You can manipulate your stanchion here and make sure that your wheel is aligned evenly in the middle. And then now we can tighten down with our 21mm wrench. Next step, plug in your motor cable. With your 3mm Allen, you're going to loosen up this screw right here because we're going to rotate the motor cable outwards. Make sure you don't over tighten this because it's very easy to break this right here. We're going to do the same thing to the other side as to pull the brake line away from the wheel. And again, make sure you don't over tighten this. It's very easy to pull the screw through the plastic here. At this point in the build, it is now a good time to start air pressuring your tires. We're going to run these at 30 PSI on a 20x4 wheel. And also I want to show you, while you're aligning this, you need to rotate your wheel and make sure that the bead is directly center onto the rim itself. Otherwise, this can cause problems such as the tire coming outside off of the rim. So you just want to make sure that these two lines right here are evenly spaced around the rim before you air it up. So after we install the wheel and we've pressured up our tires, we're going to rotate the wheel, and you may have a little brake rubbing here. It's a very easy fix. So these two screws right here are going to be loosened up, and this is going to allow the brake caliper to be manipulated and move out. And that way you're aligning your brake pads over the brake disc with space in between them, and they're not going to rub. But the goal here is to spin it and make sure that you have space in between the pads until there's no more noise, and then we're going to tighten down. Now the key to this, when you're tightening these screws down, you want to hold the caliper in place and do it little by little on both sides. Because if you tighten these down, what will happen is it'll actually walk the caliper out, and then your alignment is going to be off. On this step, we're going to install the pedals. These are going to be denoted right and left. And so on your right pedal, this one is going to be a clockwise motion to install. These threads are very easy to strip out. So make sure that you have your threads all the way in before you put your tool on it. And it should be able to freely spin on there. With your 15mm wrench, you're going to tighten your pedal down. So same thing for the left side, except the left side is actually going to thread in counterclockwise. This is reversed from the right side. Next step, we're going to show you how to install the pegs. You already have the hardware already installed here, so you're just going to remove this. It's going to be a 5mm Allen on the outside and a 10mm wrench on the other side. To continue the build process before we flip the bike over, we're going to go ahead and continue to remove all of the packaging here. And again, on the top side here, once we're flipped over, we can go ahead and remove the rest of the packaging. To charge your battery, you can use any standard wall outlet. And once you're plugged into the wall, you're gonna have a green light illuminated on your charger. This shows that the charger is working. Before we plug the battery in, we're gonna make sure that it's in the off position, which is gonna be the 0 here. The line switch right here is gonna be on. So make sure your battery is off while you're charging it. And then we can plug in the battery. While the battery is charging, the green light is gonna illuminate red. And once this illuminates back to green while the battery is plugged in, that means your battery is fully charged. Next step, we're gonna install the rear rack. You already have your hardware attached in the bike here. So our first thing that we're gonna do is to remove the hardware that's on the bike. For this one in the middle, you're gonna need to use the 8mm wrench that we have provided and your Allen key. These two side attachments toward the rear here are not compatible with the rear rack, so these will have to be removed also. To attach the rear rack, first we're gonna install the long screw that we took out of the middle. This one's gonna need the nut on the back. Now we're gonna go ahead and attach the side screws here. Finally, to finish off the rear rack installation, we're gonna connect our rear tail light and turn signal, and we're gonna wire it up through the back here and zip tie them along. Following the same principle as the motor cable, you're gonna line up the two arrows. Next, we're gonna cut the excess off the zip ties. You're gonna wanna tuck the excess wire out here. So I like to turn it, and then you can tuck them into the controller box under the seat. To install the headlight, the following steps are necessary. Make sure you grab your 8mm wrench. This one has an 8mm and a 10mm on it. You're gonna need both. And you're also going to need your 5mm Allen key and your 3mm Allen key. First step of this process, you're gonna use your 10mm wrench, and it's gonna hold down the nut, and then your 5mm Allen to unscrew the main mounting bolt here. And we're gonna remove this, and we're going to install the clamps. So one side first, and then we'll install the other. Now you don't want to tighten this down all the way, but by tightening it just snug enough, you'll be able to wrap this around the front forks. After we've lightly installed the mounting bolt, we're going to go to the front of the bike, and we're going to wrap the clamps around the forks, and that's going to hold our headlight in place so that we can tighten it down. Now we're going to insert the other side of our clamp, and you're going to want to install it in the first slot here. Just like the other connectors, we're going to connect these by lining up the arrows. Next, we're going to install our 3mm Allen head screw and nut on the end, and it's going to go through the hole on both clamps. We're going to use our 8mm wrench and our 3mm Allen here, and we're going to tighten the clamp down here. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten our main fastener down. It's going to be used with the 10mm and then the 5mm Allen. In order to install the front fender, we're going to have to remove either the barrel lock here. You can do that with a Phillips head screwdriver, or you can also remove one of these 5mm screws here and rotate the lock assembly out of the way, and that way you have access to the 4mm right here. You'll also need to loosen the other side here, and that will allow you to move the lock mechanism out of your way. After you've removed this 5mm screw here, there's going to be a washer under there, and then now we can rotate that out of the way and gain us access to the 4mm screw here. As we install the front fender, you're going to make sure the flared base is towards the rear end of the bike, and then we're going to slide that long bolt straight through here, through the hole on the neck here. And this is going to come with the Allen side coming through the rear end. Now we're going to install the washer and the nut. And we're We're gonna get this just snug enough so that we can manipulate the front fender and align it to where we want it. So we're gonna pull the front fender up a little bit. You want it aligned to the top of this triple tree here. And same thing on the back. Once we're aligned, we can go ahead and tighten it down. Move our lock plate back in place, and then we can go ahead and tighten that down. Now that we have removed the locking mechanism, this is not going to line up so we're going to install our locking key in here, and we're going to find the lock that's on the neck in here. There we go. We're going to install the washer that we removed between the triple tree and the locking clamp. And that completes the headlight and fender installation. All right, now we're going to go ahead and install the battery. When you install your battery, you want to make sure it stays in the off position. And we're simply just going to line it up to the battery slide and slide her on in. And then when you turn your battery on, you'll hear a beep beep. And that's how you know that your battery is on and installed. You want to make sure you lock your battery every time that you install it so that it doesn't fall out and nobody can steal it. Your all-wheel drive S is going to come equipped with a security system. So this alarm, when the bike is moved, is going to go off. You're going to have two buttons on your key fob here. It's going to be a lock button and an unlock button. So the lock button is going to give you one beep, which means it's locked. And if anybody tries to move the bike, the alarm is going to go off. So to unlock, you're going to click the button on the top of the key fob here. That's going to be your unlock button. That's going to give you two beeps to know that it is unlocked. All right, so the operation of the display, you're going to have your plus button and your minus button here. So these are going to change through your various levels of pedal assist. And you're also going to have your power button on the top here. And then on the bottom, you're going to have a USB-C drive so that you can charge any device. So you press and hold the power button, and that'll get you into the display. So you can set a password in here, a personal password. If you do lose your password, you will have to replace the entire display. So make sure you don't forget your password. So we're going to short press the arrow keys here, and we're going to short press the M button on the bottom to select the number and move over to the next. Now that we're into the main interface, there's a few things to note here. This will show real time, and you can set your clock through the menu. It's going to show your trip and odometer. You're going to have your miles per hour here and which power setting you're on, and also which level that your battery is on, whether it's drained or if it's charged. To access the short menu, you'll need to power up the bike, and within the first 15 seconds, you're going to press and hold the M button, and that'll gain you access to the menu. Press and hold the M button. Now you're in the menu. So your basic settings window here. Short press the M button, and then you can scroll through with the arrows. So the first menu is going to be your units, whether it's metric or imperial. Second unit is going to be able to set your time. Long press the M button to exit. This will be a maintenance reminder. It's every 3,100 miles. You can turn this off or keep it on. The backlight. This is going to be the illumination on your backlight. 3 is going to be the brightest, 2 is going to be the middle, and 1 is going to be the least bright. Auto sleep. If you leave your bike on, so you can set when the bike will automatically turn off within 5 minutes, 10, 15, and so on. And then to set your password, you go down to the password here. You're going to click the yes button so that you can access the password. Click down once more on the arrow key, and then now you can guide your numbers here through the arrow key and hit the M button for the next selector. Once you have that set, press and hold the M button, and then click exit. The information tab is just going to show you the general information of the bike. It's going to show you which software is on the display. Everything else you can ignore. Once you scroll over to the advanced setting, you can short press the M button to access. This is going to require a code from the factory, and the password is going to be as follows. Now from the advanced settings, you can change your wheel diameter, which you don't need to because it's a 20-inch wheel, and that's how it's going to accurately gauge how fast you're going. Speed limitation here, this is going to be your percentage of speed. So it's going to come at 32% out of the box. I know it says kilometers an hour here, but this is actually a percentage value. So to unlock this, you're going to scroll all the way up into the 60s or 70s. So in the speed limitation setting, I don't recommend going past 75%. It's the law of diminishing returns. You're using more power to turn the wheel, but you're not getting any revolutions per minute, anything past 75%. 75% is really the upper limit. And if you run it all the way at 99%, then you're really going to be running too much power to the motor, and you'll end up burning out the motor or the controller. Pedal assist mode, you can change how many levels of pedal assist you have. It comes default at 5, so we have 1 through 5 for your pedal assist settings. I would recommend just keeping that there. The last menu is going to be a reset menu. So this is going to refresh and reset all of your data, and it's going to be reset to the factory setting. There's not many circumstances where you would like to do this, because this will also reset your odometer and the mileage that you have set on this. So I'd recommend ignoring this completely. So on the main interface here, you can cycle through different interfaces with a short press on the M button. This is going to be your trip time. It's going to be your average speed that you're going, your max speed that is available, and your odometer here. Press it again, and this is going to show which pedal assist level that you really spend the most time in and the most power that you're utilizing. And that concludes the tutorial on how to operate our upgraded display on the all-wheel drive S model. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns about the display, you can reach out to our customer support or go to our website that we show all of the menu options and information regarding this display. The first switch on your left hand is going to be your all-wheel drive switch. This indicates whether you're going to have rear wheel only, front wheel only, or both wheels at the same time. So when the switch is flipped to the right, that's going to be rear wheel only. When it's flipped to the middle, both motors are going to be engaged. And when it's flipped all the way to the left, that's going to be your front motor is going to be the only one that is engaged. Right here we have our turn signal switches. You can switch to the right and switch to the left, and then in the middle would be neutral. Right under your turn signal switches, this is going to be your high beam for the front headlight. You can engage that while the headlights are off, or you can engage that to increase the illumination when the headlights are on. To enter night mode, you're going to long press the up arrow, and you'll know that it's on when the icon is illuminated next to the time. That means your front headlight is going to be illuminated and your rear taillight is going to be illuminated. The all-wheel drive S model is equipped with rear brake lights, so when you depress the lever on the left or the right side, the rear end is going to illuminate, indicating that you are slowing down or coming to a stop. You have 2 paddles here for your shifter, which is going to increase or decrease the gear ratio down on your freewheel. In addition to a pedal assist sensor, we also have a half grip throttle here. We have brake sensors attached, so the throttle will not work when the brakes are engaged, but when the brakes are not engaged, the throttle will always be live on this. Our Advent derailleur is installed with a clutch, and the clutch will lock out the derailleur so that it doesn't bounce around over hard terrain, and it's going to eliminate your chain slapping your swing arm. All right, now that we've got our bike all installed, we've gone over the display, the various functions of the bike, I want to go over a few safety things. And you kind of generally want to do this over every couple rides or so, just to make sure that your bike is nice, tip-top shape, ready to go, and that you're safe on the road. All right, so one of the biggest safety measures that I like to check, especially when I go ride, I want to make sure that these brake rotor bolts here are nice and tight. You don't want your brakes coming off mid-ride. Just with a T25 torch, go over those. Next order of business, you're going to want to make sure that you have air and enough air pressure in your tires. We run these tires at 30 psi. Your Schrader valve is right here. That's where you're going to attach your air valve, and also to be able to check how much psi is in your tires. So every once in a while, you definitely want to put your 21mm wrench on both of these lug nuts on the front and the rear, and make sure that those are tightened. If you notice on a brand new bike, your brake caliper is going to be clean. Now, you're going to start accumulating dust from the brake pads here. Once you see a lot of dust around the brake caliper area, it generally means that it's time for new brake pads here. E-bikes do tend to go through brake pads a little more quicker than regular analog bikes, just for the nature of how fast that these things can go. Another safety measure I like to go over very often is make sure that your handlebars are tight. If these are loose, your handlebars can roll forward, and that can end up in a very dangerous situation. So just check these periodically, make sure they're tight. Again, just make sure that your rear lug nuts are tight. Do this periodically, both the left and the right. This way you know you're always riding in safety. The all-wheel drive S is equipped with an adjustable front suspension, so you can dictate that by the compression dial here. So if you turn it counterclockwise, this is going to loosen or soften your front fork, and you're going to have much more travel and compression. Or you can turn it clockwise, and you can stiffen the front end. So you can tailor this ride whether you want it stiff, soft, or in the medium. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and hit the link below and get in contact with our tech support department. Also, make sure you check out our build manual online as well as the build video.